Who has a big jolly beard?
Jack Black?
Who travels far and wide to bring joy and cheer to all? Would you like a hint?
Jack Black.
They enjoy a nice warm drink while on the job. That's right, it's corporate space dwarfs. We're talking about corporate space dwarves. It's Deep Rock Galactic.
Hell yeah.
Rock and Stone!
To be fair, Jack Black.
You could have just said, I don't know. Deep Rock Galactic, it's one of those games for me that I didn't really expect anything of. It was 20 quid each.
It was, yeah.
Which is a lot,
It's quite a
considering
lot.
the games we buy.
When we bought it as well, it was on pre-release. No, that's not the word.
Game preview.
It was... It was on game preview, so we were happy to give some money to support.
Coffee Stain Studios and...
Is that their name?
well, one of them's a publisher. I can't remember what the other one's called.
Yeah,
It was a gamble.
It was a gamble. We weren't expecting much from it. But to be fair, what doesn't sound fun about being a dwarf who mines things?
Probably the mutant bugs that try and kill you.
Well,
Run us through Deep Rock.
so
The average game of Deep Rock.
you get onto the ship, but first you drink a beer.
No, but first you kick a barrel.
You always kick a barrel. Regardless of anything, you kick a barrel. It's like a safety check. And then you get onto your big drilly thing that you go down into Deep Rock. I now understand that.
Basically, you drop into a procedurally generated map, and you've got to hunt for minerals, you've got to protect drills, you've got to salvage little...
Mules.
Mules. We'll get to the mules.
I like the mules.
We'll get to that. And along the way, all sorts of nasty, hostile life is trying to stop you from essentially destroying their habitat. You're the bad guy, basically.
We just like digging
We want things and stuff, and we're going to take them.
because we just love to dig.
That's one of the things I quite like about Deep Rock, is it's not trying to be so consistently funny. It's
Yeah.
got its sly kind of jabs at capitalism and how the workforce is filled with essentially slaves, and the bosses are just forcing people to do things, and they don't give a shit about you.
No.
And it does that in a subtle way. It's not original necessarily. It's nothing different to what you've seen, but it's a nice backdrop, and it's weirdly homely. The most striking thing about it, though, and the thing that I noticed day one playing, it's really pretty.
Yeah, it's a really pretty game. The environments, especially when you get to the different biomes, my favourite one is probably the ice one because it's just really nice.
I like a lot of the jungly ones.
But yeah, they have different environments and different atmospheres as well. Like there's some atmospheres which make you talk high-pitched and it makes you run a little faster. There's some atmospheres where there isn't any oxygen, so you have to be careful of your oxygen
And
levels.
sometimes there's a swarmageddon.
And sometimes there's a swarm again, and that's when shit gets real.
The scenario that never gets old for me every time I do it, I think, wow, this is so cool, is going into a dark cavern, and when you throw a flare out, and you just see like 12 bugs crawling on the ceiling towards you.
Game over, man. It's game over.
It's very obviously inspired by Aliens, but not outward, obviously, where it's copying. It's a really loose sense, and honestly, this might be the best Aliens game that isn't an Aliens game.
Yeah. And I quite like the bugs because also I have a fear of spiders. So a lot of games, if the spiders are too realistic or if they walk too weirdly or if anything that looks kind of too much like a spider, I get freaked out.
Let's find out your level there.
My level. So, for example, when playing Hunt, I physically couldn't wear headphones or be in the same room as the spider.
And she means the same room in real life.
Oh, yeah. No, I had to take my headphones off many times because I couldn't handle the sound. It was freaking me out.
But you're kind of chill with the spiders in Skyrim.
I'm fine with those because they don't move normally. They move really weirdly. But I don't like them either way. But these ones, they're not spiders, but they kind of move spider-like, but they look more like ants. And I can kind of deal with that. And they're quite cool looking and they're quite pretty. So bug-wise, they don't freak me out, which is always nice.
Do you know how relieving it is to talk about bugs and not be talking about a broken game? Because this this game is filled with bugs.
It is.
But it's such a stable game. The frame rate holds up. There's not many glitches. It's great.
Yeah.
This is the kind of bugs we want.
And you can make them your friends, which is always nice. I like that you can pet everything. That's a fun aspect
It's
to
a
the game
silly
for me.
game. It's such a silly game.
It is.
But it didn't rely on its silliness to skimp out on actually making an interesting, enjoyable experience.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of different mission objectives. and they may get repetitive over time.
Hmm.
I'm in the stage where some of them are getting more repetitive than others.
But we still haven't promoted ourselves. We've got the mission now, but we haven't done it yet. So we don't know how much that's going to change, because there is a thing that we can't unlock yet that's called deep dives, which might add quite a lot to it.
Well, or it might add nothing.
Might add nothing. We have no idea.
The thing about Deep Rock is it does a really good job of keeping you on edge and drip feeding you little new things here and there. You go, oh, I've never seen that creature before. Oh, this plant life's hostile and firing spines at me, and I didn't expect that. I've not seen that yet. I've been playing for about 5 hours, and here's a new thing.
Yeah.
And it's really good at keeping you interested in those ways.
Yeah, they're adding a lot of new things, which is cool.
They're quite clearly supporting this game. This wasn't supposed to be a Christmas video.
No.
But then they added Christmas stuff. And I need a video for Christmas, so here we are. Thanks, Coffee Stain.
And I look like Santa now, so I feel like it just fits.
It just works.
It works.
Accept it. The people behind this are obviously very much in the spirit of giving. Because, and I want to give the game 10 out of 10 just for doing this alone, but it does have its cosmetic DLC, which I'm fully against. I hate paying for cosmetic items. Let me unlock them in a game. You know, I miss those days.
Yeah.
But it's not egregious. It's not like there's no cosmetic options outside of that. There's plenty of options regardless. And they've done their own battle pass. Battle passes are fucking evil.
Yeah.
Pay some money to unlock some progression.
Yeah.
No, put progression in your game. This one's free.
Yeah, which is really nice.
And it's interesting. I love going to after the mission and checking how much I've earned and what my next upgrade is.
Yeah.
I love battle passes.
Yeah.
On paper, when they're part of the game as they should be.
It's like the idea, like, I have no problem with loot box kind of things until people have to pay for it and people start getting gambling addictions and things like that.
Overwatch is a really enjoyable game until you stop getting given progression. And that's why they do it. They give you a little bit to get you hooked, and then they don't give you anything and you want it again.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the big
evil.
issue, yeah.
But Deep Rock doesn't take that route. It goes, well, here's some stuff. We've got some cosmetics. You spent 20 quid in that game. You've supported us that way. You want to buy these outfits, that supports us as well. If you don't, here's the game that you paid for.
Which is fair.
You also see a lot of games that push co-op. Like So Hot, it's a 4-player co-op game. Relevant example that we're yet to play, Aliens Fireteam, or something like Back 4 Blood. These games that go, it's a co-op experience. You can play on your own, but it's meant to be played with people. And what that boils down to is all 4 of you run through the map shooting at things kind of independently of each other.
Yeah.
Every now and again, you got to help each other up. I feel like this is one of the very few games I've ever played that actually does encourage teamwork.
Yeah.
And works better. It's more enjoyable with teamwork.
Because that's it. There's 4 very distinct characters, and I haven't played as many of them because I've tried all of them, but I'm not a fan of the others, and I really love playing as the scout. So I've mostly been playing as a scout because I feel like it's an important part of the team. But they all have such different and unique set of skills and abilities and things they can do.
I keep changing because I feel like different missions require different skill sets.
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely.
I never feel like I couldn't do it with a character. I just feel like certain things are more enjoyable with certain characters.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's a good line to stand on. We can kill the big dreadnought creatures and I can use my flamethrower as the driller, but it's somewhat easier. But mainly, it's more fun to do it with a massive Gatling gun.
That's why I quite like the scout, because I feel like regardless of what mission you're doing, if you're doing dreadnoughts, if you're the gunner, I feel like the scout's a good person to have because then you can light up the whole room, so it's a lot easier to see your environment, where you're going, and figure things out.
Your skills don't just help you, they help everyone. And there are certain things that you are better positioned to do. And I can use the ping system to point something out and you can zoom and grab it. Or we might need to get to the drill, but there's a wall in the way. Well, don't worry, I'll plow on through it.
Like, they all have good skills, but you can do any level on your own as well. That's another option.
It really speaks volumes about a game when I only have one criticism, and it really doesn't matter. And it's the map. I don't like the map.
Oh, yeah. I kind of accept the map.
I like the style. I get the style and the way it looks.
Yeah.
It's just the way it moves around, and when you're in a big map and there's loads of different tunnels and you can't move around it very well, and it gives me motion sickness. I'm not a fan.
No.
But that's such a small thing. I can work with it.
And also, a lot of the time, like, obviously looking at the maps helps, but a lot of the time you can kind of just walk around the environment and as long as you can remember where you are, you can kind of figure out where you're going.
That's the gameplay loop that keeps the procedural generation interesting. And
yeah.
I've seen so many games do procedural generation, and what they're just throwing shit together, and it doesn't feel good. It's boring. This one, everything looks different, and it is thrown together. But it works because they've put enough work into that system to make sure this sort of thing pattern appears, this is the kind of place, these are the identifiers of certain things. And a big part of it is going into an area and exploring it, and then you start recognizing places and seeing loops. And we're dwarves, we'll clear out this area and we'll move on to the next, like a machine, like a well-oiled machine. And that's it. It's such a I understand now, some people play survival games and they'll play and they'll play and they play. And they keep going, and I'm like, well, this doesn't seem fun. And it's like, well, you're building a thing to make a thing, to do a thing, to get a thing, to so you can do a thing. And it's like, well, when does it end? You could say the same about this. But there's a level of progression. I feel like I'm earning at a fair rate that I just want to keep going. And it is repetitive. And for some people, it will be a game you play in small doses. But for others, it's a game you could sit and play for a few hours. You could settle in for the night.
Yeah.
It's kind of for everyone, and it's not excluding anyone. It's not making anyone pay extra money for things.
You could play this, it might be a bit more difficult, but you could play this with kids. You could play this with teenagers. You can play this with adults. Like, it doesn't stop at a certain age.
Or even skill.
Yeah.
There's plenty of difficulty levels, and
that's true.
I
You
never
can go
feel
easy.
I never feel like I'm being penalised for playing on less difficulties, but I always feel a good sense of challenge playing on harder.
Sometimes too much of a challenge.
Sometimes too hard. Yeah. It's such a good fuck around game.
It is, yeah.
And it knows it.
It does.
You can do a drink, you can kick some barrels,
You can
throw
have a dance.
You can throw snowballs at each other.
You can. That is a nice feature.
You can have a drink while having a dance.
Yeah.
And then throw a snowball at somebody.
And that is cute as hell.
That's what this game is. It's cute as hell. But it's also very immersive and investable.
Yeah, you can really sink your time into it.
I don't have any spare income to spend on cosmetic items.
No.
But if I did, and I wanted to support these guys, I'd probably do it. Because why wouldn't I? They've made a really good game for a more than reasonable price.
Yeah, exactly.
Deep Rock Galactic is a really pretty, focused, stupid game that I can't help but recommend. It's pinnacle indie game because it has its goal, it has its resources, and it's used every single resource it has in the best way it can. And it's made a great game out of it with nowhere near the budget of much worse games.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. It's a lot of fun.
Aliens Colonial Marines. Big company, same parent company that makes GTA at this point, right? Couldn't make a good game. These guys, with nowhere near as much, doing their own thing, have made a better Aliens game. It's not got the attention of something like Stardew or Fortnite, or Among Us, or some of the bigger sort of indie darlings that have gone massive. But I think it deserves it.
I think especially now that it's on Game Pass, it's going to be a lot more easily accessible. So as we always say, if you have Game Pass, definitely give this one a go because right now it's free for you to play and it's great. It's great fun.
Even if you don't have Game Pass, if you're looking for a new game and you have 20 quid.
And you have a couple friends or family members. Yeah, I mean, I'd happily play this on my own as well. Is there a way to play it with people online?
Oh, of course there is.
Yeah, I imagine so. I guess we've
you
never
can do
tried.
public matches.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. But you can play it on your own, and the game has allowed that by giving you a drone to help you out as well.
It's thought of everything.
It has. So it is fun to play in general.
Very rarely do I do this, but this is a solid recommendation. I don't do actual 10 out of 10s or ratings like that because they're bollocks and they don't take into consideration context and size of a company or whatnot. But if you think of this as a mid-tier game made by a relatively small team, 10 out of 10, go play it.
Did you want to talk about the mules?
We said we're going to talk about the mules, but we didn't talk about the mules. The mules are cute.
They're so cute.
That's all I have to say. They follow you around, you pour resources in them. They're cute.
They're adorable. But they do get in the way. They can get annoying sometimes.
Like children.
But then again, the game knows that they can get annoying because they've literally put dialogue in saying that they always get in the way. And that just adds to it. They're cute. They're adorable. And you can give them a little pat.
I love them.
Yeah.
Pat, 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 pat.
All right.
Thanks for watching the video, guys. Have you played Deep Rock? Have you always secretly wanted to be a dwarf? Because we have.
And the biggest thing we can say right now is Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Because this will probably go up on Christmas.
Probably. It depends on the schedule. Depends what happens. But Merry Christmas. Jingle bells, Batman smells. Robin scoured a cavern for hours and hours to find 6 alien eggs. Hope you have a good one, guys. Enjoy it. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to leave a like and subscribe in the spirit of giving, we would appreciate that deeply. And if you want to support us financially, you can do so in our Patreon. We appreciate anything you can give. Apart from all that, Merry Christmas and cheers.
Bye.